In this video, we are showing you how to L-swap a jet boat. This video is brought to you by Holley Performance, and we basically L-swapped this boat in 2 days, besides the motor mounts and the headers. We had a Terminator harness for it, but we actually ordered the wrong one because we put a junkyard 5.3 in this. We have a new 6-liter up there that's going in with AFR heads and stuff. This is literally just a junkyard motor with some nice Holley parts and some beautiful headers from Danny Giannini. I'll tag them in the link or the description. But H1 headers, they are rotary fire, so it sounds pretty wicked. We did a custom paint job on this thing a while ago, but basically the motor was just mounted in there, and we actually swapped this motor, or swapped that motor, put this motor in it, plumbed it, wired it, made everything work, and it runs and spins the drive shaft. That's basically all you got to do. Drive shaft is a CP Performance drive shaft. It's like $300 for the kit. We just did O'Reilly's battery, stock coils, Holley fuel pump, filter, regulator, and a ton of mismatched AN fittings because we just had a ton of stuff laying around the shop. But this thing sounds pretty dope. So this video is going to show you how to do this, and we just roughly did it real fast, and we're going to go to the lake tomorrow and have some fun. What's up, everybody? I'm going to show you how to take the bolts out that break off inside the heads for the exhaust flanges on LS's. They are notorious for breaking the fronts and the rears. This other side is actually good. None of them are broken. And we decided we're going to throw this. It's a stock 5.3. We are going to put it in the boat. Hopefully we take it to the lake this weekend. The motor that we have in it right now might be a little bit too much RPM and stuff. It should be like 650 horse, but it's a stock pump, so we can't really run it too high. So like we could probably run like 50 or 5,000 RPM maybe, and it's like a 7,500 RPM motor. So we had to get push rods for it and some rocker arms and stuff, which we wanted just to take it to the lake this weekend. So we're gonna try making this little guy work. We put some Holley valve covers on it to make it look kind of cool. This is literally 100% stock 5.3 Holley intake, fabricated intake, and then a alternator bracket on the top. It's kind of ugly, but it should work. I wanted to run it kind of like lower down here, but this will work. Front mid plate mounts off the water pump or water pump holes, and then I have a ICT billet bracket that goes right there. Then all the AN lines, we should have enough from the random stuff we have at the shop. I put a couple new sensors on it. There's a sensor right there, and then there's like just some vacuum lines down here. Just need to plug one more. I'm gonna just plug up the water line, or like the steam ports. I'm running the coil bracket or coil mounts, because this is like delete all where the coils go. So we're putting the coils down here on the factory motor mount area. Put a Canon filter, Holley, Firebird, oil pan. These might be a little bit too big of injectors for this. This is for the nitrous kit we have for the other motor, but we just need to put a different impeller in the other pump and kind of make it just safer for that. We don't want to over rev that pump, but this should be fun. And then we'll put the 8-to-1 headers on this too, and then we have to run a O2 sensor and then the Terminator harness. So we should have all the stuff ready for this. I did design a bracket yesterday for the gas pedal, which is kind of weird. So instead of like on a factory car, you pull from the top like so. Grab this gas pedal and show you how this works. So the cable's gonna be way in front, so it's like an 18-footer. And then so now you see how this get yourself some nuts This might be a little bit too big, but I usually start, make sure you can see this. So usually I throw a couple tacks on there and then hold up the nut. I don't know why it looks so blurry on the camera, but hopefully it's clear. But so I throw a couple tacks on there, so there's like a little nipple on there, and then this will just sit kind of wherever, and then you just fill that thing, like rosette weld it. And then you don't have to be too worried about getting the aluminum too hot because it absorbs it super fast. And then so you just make sure you have a couple of these because a couple of them will break or usually break. I've had really good luck with this. I'm gonna set up the camera somehow and then take a video just tacking them on and breaking them off. Hopefully I don't melt the GoPro doing this, but don't breathe this stuff in because I think there's zinc or something. I know it's not great, but it smells like burnt Indian food or something. Oh baby. What success feels like. It's still pretty freaking hot. There you go. And this isn't, it's not even messed up. That socket got really hot and it's between my legs. You can tell it's a little bit, but you can just get some Scotch-Brite and sand that down and be ready to go. But that's it, and repeat that on your next one. It is very easy to do. You can't really mess it up too much. You have to like really burn that thing in to like really mess it up. But I have my welder set at like 182 for wire speed and 17.4 for volts, so hot enough. So we got the header off. They all came apart as one piece, which is kind of cool. Look at that thing. Pretty sweet. These are all separate pieces, so it makes it easy to put together. If you had to take it all apart, and they're all labeled too, so like 1, or is it a 7? 1, 8, 5. I think it's fire in order, but yeah, sick. This motor's ready to get dropped in. Figuring out the alternator bracket because it didn't really work before, but we might just put a new battery in it so we could run it. I put all the seals on there. Just gonna cap that off, not run that. I put my bracket on for my coils. All the wires are ran. What else? Johnny got new AN lines from like a local company, which is cool, so a ton of random stuff, but we should have enough parts. Johnny's walking around some chain. We're gonna yank this motor out. All the bolts are loosened up. We took the interior out so we don't mess that up. Anything else to say?
No, just super excited to go to the lake tomorrow.
How excited?
Scale 1 to 10. 10.
These are the
It's awesome.
ICT relocation bracket things. We're gonna run just barb fittings, but this is kind of what it looks like with AN lines, which looks kind of cool. This is actually what I was trying to do for the throttle linkage. This is a push rod out of a stock Silverado, and I was gonna just weld this corner and then make a bracket down below so you could have your push rod. I don't know if this is 3/16 pipe. So I'm gonna pull this motor out and then we're gonna put that motor in and we're gonna make this boat run. So Johnny's taking the CP Performance drive shaft off. I took the mid plate off the back. The mid plate in the front bolts right to the water pump holes. This is a mid plate. Just have a 3/16 steel. There's bolts right to the back, and those bolt right to those right there. Excited to go to the lake, Johnny?
So super excited.
Like a 10?
Still out of 10, yeah. 1 out of 10.
Oh shoot. There's excited Johnny. Moving Gronk. Crunk? What? What's the alien or the monster guy that's with the eyeballs? Gronk?
Gronk, I think.
Gronk? It's something like that. It looks like it. Ah, real monsters. But we ordered a 58X harness for the original motor, for the new motor that we were going to build, which is a 24X motor. We like all 24X motors. We like all LS motors, but 24X motors are very cheap at our local junkyard. And then, so when you can use the 58X harness for a 24X, you just have to cut wires, get different plugs or pigtails, swap it out a little bit, kind of just adding more stress to it. Not stress, but more work that I don't want to do. But if you go on eBay, you can get it really cheap. This is a harness I had for another project that we never ended up using, but I already had a flash sheet, OEM ECU, and we had it just sitting around. It was luckily for a EV6, EV1 injectors, so it just works. The only thing we might have to do is tune it out for the MAFS or the mass airflow sensor, and tune it out for O2 sensors. So all I have to do is mount wherever the ECU wants to go to. We made this bracket. It's kind of all scratched up because we've been dragging it. I have to run trigger wire for the start or the fuel pump wire, and then ignition wire, and then a starter wire to ignition in the front. That's it. No oil pressure though, because you don't need oil pressure. The Chinese do not like oil pressure apparently, because they don't ever have the wiring. This is to NOx sensors. We're going to tune that out also. But yeah, if the NOx sensor goes off, it's pretty much too late already. So who cares? It's a cheap motor. And if it was honestly knocking, we would still probably drive it back. So we're gonna lift it off the jack stand or the engine stand, and we're gonna mount the drive shaft, which is right there, behind you, right here. So these bolts are extremely expensive. As I drop one, it's like I think almost $100 or $70 just in these 12 points. So they're like custom made. I don't know really what the deal is. They're like metric or something. I don't freaking know. But so this kit was like $100 for that, and like $200 for the drive shaft, and then just a slip yoke into the pump. So it's super easy. So basically, like let's say like $300 or so for the full kit. I know the math doesn't make sense, but it does. So that just bolts right to the crank. Leave the flex plate on. You don't have to move around, so I'm going to just Loctite those on. These just bolt right into right here. I have have no idea what size those are, but that came with the kit. And I think those are just spicer U-joints, but I think it's pretty good stuff. But that was all from CP Performance. There's the part number right there. I don't know if you can even see it. There's a part number, so that's it. And if anybody ever needs this stuff, just let us know. We can make them. And I have AN fittings to go to -A to 3/8 MPT. And back here too. So this is the return line, that's the fill line. You're supposed to have a hose all the way down to the bottom of the tank, which I'm not sure if this does or not, but I think it does. And this side already has a hose all the way down to the bottom, which should suck plenty of fuel. And we're not gonna run that tank. We're just gonna run this tank to make it easy and make it run. These barely fit because this hits the kind of the rib right here on the inside. So that's probably gonna be a problem in the future. But I don't want to take the brackets off because they're screwed in from underneath the boat. So we're gonna drop this new motor in, prep this motor, and put it in. It's pretty much ready to go. It doesn't fit at all. What? Talking to the camera. The new oil pan hits pretty bad. Fuel pump bracket, Johnny's interrupting. And then the fuel pump, filter, fuel pump, I don't know, something like that. So this should work. So I'm gonna keep, I just cut this thing out, looks pretty cool. Johnny's super excited, and we're gonna make this thing work. We almost gave up, but you don't give up until you give up, you know? Headers are on. Made this bracket. It was really hard getting this to fit, but it fits. Got an oil dipstick in there. Got, what else? Oh, this is a predicament. The fuel line is a 1/4 inch away from the very hot exhaust. And we're gonna cap that side. I put a -6 because it's a hair smaller. I can put a ORB 90, that would fit pretty good, but this is gonna have to do for now. Motor's 100% bolted down. I'm finishing up the bracket tree on this. This will go like so. I'm gonna gettily use some hardware I found on my shop floor. Make some 1/4-20s, mount that regulator. 1/4-20 mounters are pretty cool because you just kinda those bolts are too long, but it's all right. It is pretty much wired up. I need to wire the battery, the starter, and the key switch, and the fuel pump. So I designed a bracket for this doohickey, the regulator. It's a face, another face. Johnny extended the coil wires. So that took most of Johnny's evening. This Giannini 8-to-1 header system actually went on very easy. These all are separate pieces, so you just have to line them up, and 2 people makes it really easy. The driveline angle is really bad, but I think it will work, but hopefully it doesn't make a sink. Hopefully not. Oh, and this cable is way too short. But we have a Tahiti cable, or a cable off of our old Tahiti, which should fit, but we have to take it all off again, make that work. So we got a whole, I would say Sunday. This is Friday night, Saturday morning. And and I gotta make sure that I don't mess up this hose. Okay, good night everybody. Sleep well. We will.